This week on Cruisin'.
They used to call me Old Smoky. That's how a lot of people from the club remember me, Old Smoky.
Old Smoky, eh? Oh, I'm not going to go there.
I've always liked T-Birds. Always. Always wanted one.
Looks like a dream come true for one car owner.
Well, he had parked it in 1949 and didn't drive it again until '66 when I bought it.
17 years in the barn didn't seem to bother this unique family-owned truck. Plus, the Buckeye guys give you tips on repairing rusted parts by welding in new material. Are you ready for this week's Cruise In?
I try not to, but once in a while I have to.
Yeah, sometimes you just do. Cruise In from Coe Lake in Berea, Ohio starts right now.
Hi everybody and welcome to Cruise In. I'm Scott Miller, and you know what the old saying is, on any given Sunday. Well, this given Sunday we found ourselves a beautiful municipality called Coe Lake in Berea, Ohio. We're at the Berea Commons. It's their Sunday night cruise-in, and somewhere between a 56 Chevy and a 31 Ford, we got a lot of great cars for you, so let's go check it out. Don, how do you come about this?
Well, I bought it from an acquaintance that had brought it up from North Carolina. He was gonna make a chopped Merc out of it, and he put it in storage and had it there 7 years or so and never finished it, so I bought it from him.
So now you decide on these colors, the Wilmington white, and what do we got? Inza
Mecca Red.
Inza Mecca Red. What's under the hood?
A 350 Chevy.
Now, I noticed a few things that aren't necessarily 49 factory. There's an overhead console in there. There's a handful of things. What made you decide to go, all right, I'm going to add some creature comforts?
That's a Thunderbird, 66 Thunderbird overhead console. And the interior is out of a Dodge.
Is there anything else you want to do to the car?
No, I have one other. The paint was done by a local boy here in Ohio.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, they say find an old lady that only drove it on Sundays, and that's your best bet if you're going to pick up a car that doesn't have a whole lot of wear and tear on it. 1952 Styleline Special. Am I close?
That is what it is, sir.
And the history of the car, where'd you get it?
Actually, I bought it from a gentleman in Concord. He was the second owner of it, and he had only owned it for a short time and turned it right around, and I bought it from him.
What made you say I got to have the Styleline?
Green is my favorite color. When I saw the ad, that's what drew the attention to it immediately. I wanted something old with a drive shaft, and this has both of those prerequisites.
What's powering something like a Styleline back from 1952?
It's 100 and I believe 24 horsepower, 235 straight six.
When you get the car in the condition that it's in, or have you done anything to it?
Oh no, absolutely not. When I went and looked at the car, I thought it was black. I had to have it all rubbed out. I totally rebuilt the motor. They used to call me Old Smoky. That's how a lot of people from the club remember me, Old Smoky.
What's your background? How do you know how to approach that?
Actually, auto mechanics in high school, and a lot of research with the owner's old manuals that came with it. Just like to tinker.
You have a passenger that's clearly spent more time in the car than anyone else.
You know, I put it in there a couple of Halloweens ago, and the kids love it so much that I just leave it in there constantly. We're trying to build a younger base for this old car stuff, so if I can draw a kid to my car for any reason, I'll do it.
How many original miles on the car?
60,000.
You know, there's a lot of guys that would love to have that car the way that it is, being an original.
I like it the way it is. It's perfect for me.
You've got a lot invested as far as your time and effort. You had to get it for a good price, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty decent price, I'll have to admit.
What came with the car?
Yeah, all types of receipts. It seems as though she saved every receipt that she ever got. When she got gas, she saved a receipt. Came with a big manila envelope just packed with receipts.
And did that help you at any, like, through the process of researching the car? And, you know, does it have a little more sentimental value knowing that it spent its entire life doing what she did with it and now what you have?
Exactly. And not only that, but I kind of follow the trail of what had been done to it, what hadn't been done to it, so it was a little easier to rebuild things.
It certainly didn't spend a whole lot of time outside in northern Ohio.
No, it didn't.
And where does it spend its time now besides here?
It spends its time under a couple of tarps. Unfortunately, I don't have a garage, but I take good care of it.
Well, it's fantastic. We love having you on the show. We love to see survivors like this. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
The weather's fantastic. Coe Lake is beautiful. There's more to come on Cruise In.
From project to pride and joy, the restoration specialists at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration can make your dreams come true. Our master body, paint, and mechanical technicians have over 100 years of experience. They do research, can communicate every detail of the restoration process, and their restorations win big-time awards. Buckeye Classic Car Restoration cars have been winning awards since 2001. Let the restoration specialists at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration turn your project into an award winner.
Now, back to Cruise In.
Beautiful 56 T-Bird. It's green. It's Thunderbird green.
Okay, there you go.
Not the original paint as you had stated.
Right.
What made you decide to be a T-Bird guy?
I've always liked T-Birds. Always. Always wanted one.
Is this the first one you've ever owned?
No, I had a 2002, a new one.
Oh, when they brought them back,
Yeah.
you went to the retro styling? And how'd you feel about that? Because there's some old school guys that were like, hey, wait a minute, that's not the car.
No, that was the car. I love that car.
But your 56,
Oh, I love the 56 more.
what's under the hood? Because there
The
was, I mean,
312.
from the introduction, they gradually came up with a number of different options.
There's a 312, the original 312.
The original 312.
Yes.
And when you got the car, did it look like this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, so, I mean, no change.
No, I did nothing.
Now you just, do you spin the wheel and say, I want a 56 T-Bird and then start making phone calls or get on the internet? How does that happen?
I just found it and bought it.
Local?
Yeah, I saw the car and I thought I wanted it and I bought it.
Have you run into other T-Bird owners, same model year, same, desire, or now that you have one, do you ever get anybody walk up and say, hey, where'd you get yours? How do I get one?
Yeah, I've had that. I just tell them to look for one, look on the Craigslist, you'll find one.
And it can be as simple as that?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's always one out there for sale.
How long have you had the car?
A couple years.
How many miles on the car when you got it?
It's in the 90s, probably 92, 93,000.
And it goes out to shows like this, clearly when we get the weather right.
Yeah, when the weather permits it, yes.
Now, why no top?
Well, I like it better with the top off. It's easier to get in and out.
Any maintenance done to it since
Nothing.
you got it?
Absolutely
So it's
nothing.
just like that, it fires up and off you
Fires,
go.
I put a battery in it, and after the winter,
And where does it spend the winter?
in my garage.
Chuck, so what's the future of the car? I mean, are you content? Because, I mean, some guys are like, I got it, and I'm good with it. You never know, I may sell it because I may
It would
find
probably be the last car to go.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
When it goes out to shows, does it go out to shows just for show? Do you put it in any kind of contesting?
No. I just drive it to the car show.
No awards, no big, I need
Nothing.
to win.
I don't need that. I just like the car.
Chuck, thank you very much. We appreciate you being on Cruise In.
Thank you very much.
I have never seen a Graham Brothers out of Detroit. Where does this come from? How about a little backstory?
Well, they started making trucks in 1917, but the Graham brothers had their own shops and they put a longer chassis, a big rear end pumpkin in the back, and different tires in the back so they could haul more weight. And the last one was 1928.
What were these trucks used for?
This particular one was originally a furniture truck in Lakewood, a stake body. And my uncle bought it 2 years later, took the stake body off, and he was a farmer, truck farmer, over on Engle Road. And he wanted a different body to haul produce. And the reason this has got a cypress body, wood body, is because in this wintertime he would haul manure from the stockyards free of charge, and it would never rot cypress.
So when did you come about the truck?
Well, he had parked it in 1949 and didn't drive it again until '66 when I bought it. Someone had offered him $200 for it, and I was kind of sentimental about it because he used to bring coal up to our house in Brook Park. I'd get up on the seat and blow the horn. So my cousin kind of talked me into buying it. We bought it for $200 and had to put a clutch in it, tires. The back tires are originally that were on it in 1949.
Now, what's under the hood? You said Dodge components started.
That's a 4-cylinder Dodge. It's rated at 35 horsepower, but it's geared very low gearing.
Inside you have what looks like a jewel bulb component.
That was just an accessory, so that would light up the speedometer at night. Just a little visor with glass jewels in it. Kind of like a rinky-dink thing, you know. We just had an awful lot of fun with it. I took kids around the block, around and around and around when we first got it. Had an awful lot of fun with it.
Now, how many do you know that are left out there?
Left of them now are, I've located the various years all the way up to 28. I've located about 225 of them worldwide.
Now, you say worldwide. Were these shipped overseas?
Yeah, they were very popular in Australia and New Zealand to haul wool. They were sent without a cab. You had to do whatever you wanted to with the cab when you got them there. They were very popular, not so much in Europe, but they're in Mexico, Canada, South America. But it's quite different. You'll never, ever probably see another one. I don't even have pictures of another 24.
What about parts? What happens if
parts, engine parts you can get because it's Dodge. Transmission parts. I had to have a clutch put in. That was one of the major things that we did. Other than that, there's really not too much problem getting body parts. Of course, would be hard, but mechanical, no.
Well, it looks fantastic. It has a lot of character. I'm glad we found it, and I'm glad you brought it here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coming up.
Instead of using a tape measure, trying to measure out the exact dimensions of the hole, I'm actually going to show you a simple trick that you can use.
The Buckeye guys shared their welding tricks next on Cruisin'.
Welcome to Cruising with the Buckeye guys. Today at the shop, we're going to show you how to properly butt weld a patch into your automobile and do a correct restoration on the sheet metal. Kevin here, that's one of our head welders at the shop here, is going to show you how to properly do that and demonstrate the practice at home. Kevin, go for it.
Thank you, Nate. So we've got this rusty piece here, and I went ahead and sandblasted the area we're going to be replacing. First thing I want to do is just take some tape and mark off exactly what I want to replace. Using tape is a little less invasive than scribing a line or using a permanent marker which can bleed through the final paint. So this will be a nice, clean, straight line. Right, and I always like to take a marker and then write on the tape or make a mark so I know exactly which edge I'm going to be cutting against. I'm going to do my best to stay inside of these tape lines and to give myself a nice, sharp and clean edge. Instead of using a tape measure, trying to measure out the exact dimensions of the hole. I'm actually going to show you a simple trick that you can use. So what I'm going to do is just cover up our hole with just some regular ordinary tape. And what we're going to do with this is actually cut it out and then transfer the basically a sticker that we're making from this tape over to our new piece, so that'll give us a nice clean sharp edge to cut that out. We're just going to cut this right on the inside of the hole that we've formed. All right, so now we can just go ahead and transfer this right to the new piece. Just gonna head over to the bandsaw and cut this out. So now that we're back at our workstation, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the burrs that the bandsaw left on the back edge of our piece, as well as hammer flat a few of the corners that got bent up during the cutting process. We just want to make sure that all the edges of our piece can fit within the hole. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a few magnets that I have to actually hold this in place. And so it looks to me like we're about ready to start welding. Now that I've finished welding or patching, I'm going to begin grinding. Actually, just for the sake of time today, I'm just going to grind each side down to a different step in the process. So I'm going to start off actually using the cutoff wheel again to go over the surface, bring the edge of the weld down even with the new and old metal. Now we're going to go back to using our 36 grit grinding disc. So now we'll be moving on to a finer 50 grit sanding disc. And what we want to use this for is to eliminate all of the deeper scratches made by the 36 grit disc. Now we're going to move on to a Scotch-Brite pad or burr head, and this basically polishes the surface. All right, now that we're done, we can see that the finished edge here, the original metal and the patch are actually indistinguishable from each other, and if you were to run your hand across it, you would see that it is nice and even and smooth.
Hopefully everyone watching at home enjoyed Kevin butt welding the patch into the sheet metal test piece we did. Hopefully you learned a lot. These are some of the services we offer at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration. Call us at 330-533-4757 to get your restoration project scheduled.
Coming up on Cruise In.
Something we seen and we both liked it because my wife looks good in this color.
We try on classic cars. That's next on Cruise In. Welcome back to Coe Lake in Berea, Ohio for their Sunday cruise.
Frank, they say you never know what goes on behind closed doors. Well, there's a lot of garage doors that are closed that you never get to see stuff until it comes out on a beautiful day like today. 1935 Rocket 88. It looks fast standing still. Tell us about the car.
When I retired 5 years ago, I found this car up in New York. Me and my wife, we enjoy it every week. and we just love going to different cruises.
How does the 35 Olds come up on the list? I mean, was this on, did you have a wish list of cars?
I did not. It's just something we seen, and we both liked it because my wife looks good in this color.
That right there is justification. Kind of walk us around here a little bit and tell us some things that, you know, make the car unique from what would obviously be a standard 35.
The doors have been shaved, the handles have been shaved. I got an electric trunk lid on the back end. You can see the chrome wheels that I have on it. Nice bucket seats from a Honda Prelude. Yeah, Honda Prelude bucket seats. They fit right in here. Engine's been modified. It's partly Chevy, partly Oldsmobile.
Well, it sounds like it's got a lot of everything and a whole lot of cool factor to it.
It does, and it runs good.
Obviously, being the convertible coupe gives it, you know, when they say the top goes down, price goes up. Was that a factor when you were buying the
You know,
car?
I didn't think of it at the time, but my wife's first 2 cars were convertibles. So she fell in love with it just as much as I did because of that reason.
How often do you get guys that think you ought to be putting the pedal to the metal and maybe at a stoplight saying, let's see what thing's got?
I try not to, but once in a while I have to because it just sounds so good.
It's always a great surprise when we can come up and find a car unique like this, Frank, and thank you very much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure, and thank you so much, Scott.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Cruise In. You know, when we go to some of these car shows, they date back to several years ago. Now, when you take the music that goes along with it, you create a little ambiance. You can go from acetates, stacks of wax, all the way up to vinyl to today's digital recordings. Well, Cousin Vito, he likes old school vinyl. From Off the Air Productions, I want to thank you because you really set the tone when we do a show like this.
Yeah.
Era sensitive, you see a 56 roll by and all of a sudden we got some doo-wop going.
Yep.
It's a great time. Coe Lake is beautiful. And
Yeah,
this show goes pretty much every Sunday throughout the summer right here at the Berea Commons. So for Cousin Vito, Off the Air Productions, I'm Scott Miller. We'll see you next time on Cruise In.